10 WWE Tag Teams you actually forgot Reunited. Number 10. Too Cool. Too Cool were one of the most popular acts of the Attitude Era, and in 2003, WWE decided to reunite the two former members of the faction as a way to reignite a struggling tag division on SmackDown. Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty would reunite, and to their credit, they managed to keep a lot of their popularity from the Attitude Era. This may have been because they were arguably the only popular tag team on the brand along with the APA, so fans had no choice but to root for them. The duo would win the tag titles and even successfully defend them on the grand stage of WrestleMania 20. It's unclear why their 2003-2004 tag run is rarely discussed, and it's likely because tag team wrestling wasn't a key focus for WWE during that time, so the majority of the tag teams were quickly forgotten about. Number 9. The World's Greatest Tag Team. Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas deserve a ton of credit for remaining relevant when they left the side of Kurt Angle. The two became known for their outstanding in-ring work, and they rarely missed when it came to big matches. In late 2006, WWE made the welcome call to reunite the duo. This was smart as the WWE tag division was lacking credible names, and WWE knew that they could guarantee great matches with Benjamin and Haas. Their run as a duo was brief, and their standout match was a vastly underrated ladder match versus the Hardy Boys. And the reason that the second run was so short was because WWE firmly believed that Benjamin was needed as a solo star, and this was highly detrimental for Haas, as the company just never had the same creative vision for him. Number 8. Team Hell No. Team Hell No was a key reason why Daniel Bryan got over with the fans to such an extreme extent in 2012. The comedic timing on display from both Bryan and Kane was like nothing else on the WWE product at the time, and the two had unbelievable chemistry that seemed to develop with every passing week. Now, even though the two would eventually engage in a blood feud in 2014 and Kane literally tried to bring Bryan to a permanent end, they made a surprise return as a duo in 2018. The return was mainly to feud with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, and it was a reunion that was short-lived, as Bryan quickly moved on to a feud with The Miz. The two would interact on screen numerous times throughout the next few years, and they even had a brief yet memorable encounter at the 2021 Royal Rumble. Number 7. The APA. Bradshaw and Farouk were separated in the 2002 WWE Draft, and due to them being on separate shows, they pursued their own respective careers. However, both men struggled on their own, and in 2003, WWE decided that now was the time to reunite the duo as a babyface act on SmackDown. The two would reunite, saving The Undertaker from the FBI, and the two would be cemented as a tag team on the Blue brand until WWE decided to ditch the tag team and introduce the world to the JBL character following WrestleMania 20. Number 6. Primetime Players. When WWE decides to break up a tag team, there should always be a concrete creative plan in place. Breaking up a tag team without a plan in place usually results in one or both men losing their place on the card, and sometimes they will even reunite the tag team and retcon the prior breakup. In early 2014, WWE decided to break up the Primetime Players. This received instant criticism as WWE were short on tag teams, and there wasn't exactly space on the show for two new single stars. WWE would commit to the breakup and even book a singles match on pay-per-view between Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, and this was a match that didn't exactly light the world on fire. A year later, after a year of both men doing basically nothing, WWE decided to reunite the duo on TV, and it was never truly explored why the two were suddenly friends again. The audience just had to accept it. In a baffling move a year later, they once again attempted to split the duo up, and once again they followed the same storyline from 2014. It unsurprisingly fell flat, and it was once again met with universally negative reviews from fans. Number 5. Eminem. Eminem were one of the most decorated teams of the Ruthless Aggression era. The unique gimmick and the in-ring abilities of Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro certainly helped elevate the duo whenever they were on screen, and the two managed to hold their own when wrestling against elite names such as Batista and Rey Mysterio, and even the Hardy Boys. The duo would officially split in 2006, with Nitro starting a singles career alongside Melina, and Mercury would unfortunately struggle without Nitro and Melina by his side. Later that year, in an attempt to revive the tag division, WWE made the executive call to reunite the duo. This received some criticism at the time, as Nitro was doing incredibly well as a single star, and some believe that this would have been a big step backwards. But the duo's return would be short-lived, and the run was mostly known for Mercury's nose-shattering thanks to a ladder at the Armageddon pay-per-view. Number 4. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. There's a reason that the work of the tag team of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan is often discussed on social media. Their tag offerings, particularly against the Usos, were truly outstanding, and the clips of the match often circulate when fans discuss how good their series of matches ended up being. And the interesting thing about the pairing of Harper and Rowan is that they've had a unique history in the sense that they reunited so many times over the years, as WWE always went back to the idea that both men should be in this established tag team. The two would have a mini feud on TV in late 2014, and whilst both did a great job in their respective roles, it was a given that WWE would eventually put them back together in some capacity. This would come just a few months later, and a reunion with their leader Bray Wyatt would soon follow. Fast forward to 2017 and WWE would have the two feuding yet again, and this time it even led to a featured pay-per-view match, as the two wrestled on the Backlash card with Harper coming out with the W. This once again didn't lead to a featured singles run for both men, as the two would eventually be repackaged and they would debut on TV as the Bludgeon Brothers. But their final reunion came in 2019 when the two would reunite to take on Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, and this would act as a huge push for both men, but it was again a run that wasn't destined for anything long term. Whilst these multiple reunions did get stale after a while, they are still one of the most popular tag acts of the past decade, and their match catalogue is going to be continued to be celebrated for many years to come. Number 3. The Major Brothers. The first documented reformation of the Major Brothers of Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder came in 2019, and this saw them win the tag titles at WrestleMania 35. However, only eagle-eyed viewers will know that the two had numerous on-screen reunions in the decade prior. The two had a brief reunion in 2011 when Hawkins helped Ryder defeat Vladimir Kozlov on a random episode of Superstars. The two would then face off against Kozlov and Santino Marella on a subsequent edition of the show, but this was the end of their reunion as WWE decided to abandon this creative plan. They also had a brief reunion in 2016 alongside former mentor Edge, but this was exclusively for a backstage segment. Finally, in 2018, just months before their official reunion on television, the two would team up on Main Event for a tag match. And this was WWE likely testing the waters to see how fans reacted to the two teaming together once again. Number 2. DX of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Two of the original members of DX of Triple H and Shawn Michaels had several reunions in WWE. However, there was one reunion that occurred only for the fans in attendance. As a shocking moment for a 2005 dark match, the two teamed together in a multi-person tag match, but this time as heels. This was during HBK's brief run as a heel in 2005 and during his infamous feud with Hulk Hogan. DX would join forces with fellow heel JBL to take on the all-star team of Hulk Hogan, Batista, and John Cena. Thankfully, footage of the match does exist online, and it's fascinating to see the two on the same page a year before their official WWE reunion as a babyface act. And number 1. Edge and Christian. A strong portion of the WWE fanbase will point towards Edge and Christian as being one of the greatest tag teams of all time. When the duo formally disbanded in 2001, it just took a calendar year for the two to reunite. However, this time the reunion was done exclusively for a 2002 live event, and footage of the reunion is very hard to come by. When the two were heels on Raw in 2004 and 2005 respectively, the two would team up on TV from time to time, and the first time they did this, both men in promos addressed the fact that they'd still strongly disliked each other. This was a welcome element of continuity, as it would have made a lack of sense for the two to suddenly be on good terms. The legendary tag team would then rekindle their on-air friendship in 2011, and the two would be intertwined during Edge's final active run in the company before his initial WWE retirement. But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE tag teams you forgot reunited. Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.